The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine.
And I'm Steve.
And we are back with 50 Shades of Bullshit again this week. Hello everybody.
Hello.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm good. And I've been thinking of this topic. You sent me a little message last week, and I let the wheels turn a little bit, and then we didn't talk about it. But I'm really curious to see what you thought I meant and what I actually meant about our topic, which is what is your spiritual algorithm?
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see how we both were thinking because, it's open for interpretation, obviously. And I'm sure there's many ways of thinking about it. I think I came at it more of a, love and dating kind of way. What's yours?
Well, I began wondering about they began maybe a couple of years ago, we started hearing the word algorithm. Now, of course, it's been used for many, many years, of course, certainly in science and technology. But I think the general public started to get really interested and recognize the word as we started to get ads sent to us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And we began to notice, wait a minute, I was just talking about a bread maker to a friend of mine. Why am I all of a sudden getting ads for bread makers and links to Amazon? And then all of a sudden, all this information is being pushed to us. And in fact, I jokingly say bread maker, but I actually did a test. Remember when we had all of the electronic equipment that everybody said, oh, it's always listening to you. So it is what you said. So I started a test where I would just randomly say, I want a bread maker. I'm looking for a bread maker. Now I didn't preface it saying Alexa. I didn't preface it saying SIRI. I didn't say it because then of course that's the cue.
You just verbally, right?
Yeah, that's the cue for those systems to listen. Yeah. I would just kind of randomly, I'd be driving in my car. I'd say, I want a bread maker. And I was sure that I would start getting ads for bread makers, but no, I never did. Nothing, not a note.
Really?
Yeah. So unless
it happens to me all the time.
Really, without giving a cue to, so it's interesting because I am pretty mindful about the things I click on. In fact, sometimes I'll click on something like, oh darn, I know I'm going to now start getting all of this information. So
yeah, I feel the same way. I did the test too. I was on the phone with a friend and I said I did that on purpose too. I said one thing on purpose. And within minutes of getting off the phone with my friend, Facebook, Instagram, ads everywhere, all about it. Yeah. And then it wasn't like maybe a month or so ago, I did it again. I did what you said. I just said it out loud.
Yeah.
And then few minutes later, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes later, I open up my web browser and a banner for an ad was exactly for what I said out loud.
Yeah. That's so interesting. So, now I know when I do a search for something, I know I'm going to start getting things. I know if I get some kind of spam trying to sell me something, if I accidentally or intentionally click on it, every now telemarketer is going to start calling me about that. But I have not had it happen yet. Start getting pushed ads for something I'm just talking about. But that's when you ask me, hey, what should we talk about this week? I start thinking, what is it that we're attracting in our lives That's not just spiritually, but emotionally. What are the patterns that I am attracting that keep reoccurring? And what are the cues that I keep putting out to the universe to trigger that coming my way? So and then I know you did some research in between. So I'd love to hear what you were looking for.
Yeah, I was kind of like looking at it as kind of like, well, my tech algorithms, like my TikTok, my Instagram, they're pretty much showing me what I like,
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to thinking, what is my inner spiritual algorithm? What is it noticing? What is it attracting? What is it bringing negatively into my life, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what patterns are showing up for me with love, with friendships, with work? And is those algorithms serving me? So I was like also comparing it to what I look for on my TV, with Hulu and Netflix and stuff. And I'll look for one thing, and I'll get 10 movies about that one thing or 10 shows about that one thing. And it's like what you were saying, is that what am I was thinking about it like I was just giving those examples for technology and for television with our streaming networks. That's how the first time I heard it, though.
Yeah.
Is hearing somebody say, oh, you looked up something on my Netflix and now you screwed up my algorithm. I was like, what is that? Okay. So I kind of thought about it as like that. And I thought, well, what am I doing inwardly that I am now creating my algorithm for my love life, my friendships, my work, and then it really got me thinking, what kind of patterns have I been creating just by my own thought patterns? And that has to do a lot with what I've been teaching over the years for manifesting. So what are you thinking mainly about? What are you putting into your pattern of your life?
Yeah, that's interesting. I have this conversation with a friend of mine where we were talking about a mutual friend that always seems to have drama around them so that they can show up and be heroic. So, and this friend that I was talking to is like, yeah, why? I never, I'm just drama free. I'm not there when shit's going down. It's just not my thing. But I could see when we were talking about this other friends, like, oh, they are always there when the shit goes down because something about their life lesson or whatever it is about them, that the urge or desire to show up and save the day is part of their current life pattern or lessons. Like, oh, so have me looking, what is mine? What are the things that I keep putting out or attracting in the universe? So I get to be a particular way. And it reminded me of one other thing. I had this mentor. I used to produce events all over the world, and there were transformational events. And one of the people that I worked with, she was one of the pioneers in the personal development world.
Okay.
And there were always breakdowns that would show up around her. And we were having this conversation once. I learned so much from her. And she said, unworkability shows up around me so it can get handled and resolved. I thought that is fascinating. So whenever we would be producing an event, all the messes would show up when she'd walk into the room so that things could get resolved and handled really powerfully. So suddenly you're competent with something, and all of a sudden she walks in and I'm a dundering fool because all of my clumsiness comes to the surface. And I learned so much by having to upgrade my level of efficiency and success and effectiveness. It was so powerful to always be with her. The funny thing is, though, I have to say this is funny. It was always weird going to dinner with her because the food would always come out right, because it happened all around her. We'd laugh about this. She'd always have to send her food back It's like if she could just turn it on and off, it would have been.
You just seriously gave me some massive fucking insight into my own life. Because as you were talking a minute ago about how, there's certain people in life that are always there when the drama happens because they can be the hero. And I thought, I feel like I'm that way, but the opposite, not quite the hero thing. I was thinking in my head how I was. And then you described your friend who's the chaos coordinator, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it is in my life. I see it as everybody tends to call me for solutions. I'll bring up Janice. Whenever Janice has any kind of situation that she's feeling anxious, overwhelmed, unsure, anything, she'll immediately text me and say, I need help. This is what I'm dealing with. And I'll instantly know what she needs to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll give her the right words for the pep talk to put her in the right frame of mind. And then I'll give her an inner incantation or an inner thought or exercise to do inside of her to start projecting that inner to outer. Yeah. And she doesn't even realize that's how I'm doing it. But when it happens, everybody turns to me. And it's like that with my work. I'm an event producer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I fix all the messes. So it's like I'm just like you were saying, that friend of yours. So I think that there are certain people that do like that. In a way, it kind of reminds me of the parents who make their kids sick so that they can always, nurture them and take care of them.
There gets to be Munchausen by proxy is a psychological condition. If you saw the movie The Sixth Sense, that was illustrated in that movie, where parents actually make their children sick so that they get sympathy or they can be the rescuer. It's really pretty fascinating. But it's right. What's that?
I was just going to say what we were talking about with that is different than what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, and here's why I was excited about having this conversation, that we actually orchestrate all of it. We co-created either consciously or unconsciously. So the dynamic that you just described with Janice, that you are like puzzle pieces that fit together and found each other, because she can show up in life as needing something and you could show up as the one to provide it. So what my curiosity is, are those roles that you want to keep? Or, is it time to upgrade sometimes and say, listen, Janice, you are capable. You are powerful. You don't need me to sort this out for you. Like, what's going to happen when you're not available sometimes? Because, it's just going to fall apart.
I think that she starts to, there's two things about that I want to talk about. Is the first thing is, I think that as she and I do this journey together, we've been friends for 4 years, about the time that I started my podcast. And her and I, she has grown so much and she's so much more capable of handling things, because when she knows, instead of to panic, because I'm going to tell you what she used to be. She used to immediately panic and shut down and go into, I can't breathe, I can't think mode. Now she doesn't do that. She immediately thinks, I'm just going to call Christine. And then there are times that she can't reach me, that she's actually thought, okay, I can't reach her, but what would she tell me? And the other thing I was going to say is, she's that way for me too.
Yeah.
When you say it's a puzzle piece, I think that 95% of my friend group, the people I'm friends with, they return that to me as well. We are givers and takers, and we are for each other in those same ways. And I think that's great. I love that.
Well, I think there's a part of this when it comes to, like, I used to work a lot with parents, and parents who are constantly rescuing their young person, I'm talking in their childhood years, if they're constantly stepping in to rescue them or resolve something or help them with homework, I'm not saying don't do that, but if they're always stepping in, they don't give their children the chance to, fall down and skin their knees a few times. And they don't discover, and at least in their childhood, they may later in life, how resilient they really are, how resourceful they really are. And a lot of times I would say with parents, instead of giving answers, give them back some questions. In fact, very young, a lot of times, you remember, the terrible twos, or is it 2 or 4 where they're saying why all the time? I think it's between 2 and 4. So why? And the exhausted parent who keeps trying to answer the question. And I was with a friend of mine once with their child, and their child was saying why? And I said, well, you're really creative. What do you think? And the child started coming up with all these creative answers about why. And my friend was like, they had to lift up their jaw. They were shocked. It was like, how did you do that? I said, well, listen, what they wanted was your presence. They didn't really want your answers. And sometimes they do want answers, of course. But what they wanted then was your presence and your listening. And look how excited they got about, coming up with lots of whys. And this is especially in that stage of their life, and the kind of question they were asking. I don't remember what it was, but it was like fruitful for them to just be creative and imaginative. So it really was a learning moment for me and for my friend who was the parent, as well as the child. It's pretty awesome.
I love that, because when you were saying that, I was hearing in my head, parent example. So it's like friend example, work example. It applies in everywhere. That say, let's go back to the child thing again. So if, say, your child is having an issue with a teacher or a friend or just anything in life, and they're struggling and they're having a hard time, and a parent comes in and just fixes it all the time for them, like you said, they don't learn the skills and tools that they need to solve those problems in the future.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking is that, as parents, we have to teach our kids by example. How do we handle the stressful moments? How do we handle fixing solutions and problems? And by showing people that we can create these tools and find ways of solving problems, that it also helps the child start to, really start to think, how could I fix that? And then I like the idea of not only showing example, but asking questions. Like, say your teenager comes to you and they're brokenhearted. They had a heartbreak. Their boyfriend, broke their hearts. And instead of the parents going, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kick his ass. Let's say, how is it showing up for you? How do you think that healing would work for you? How, do you think this is something you should move forward with, to get back with or break up? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like you said, using words, using examples. And I like that.
And a lot of times I will say with clients or friends is, how do you want me to support you here? Because
that's a good
sometimes you want an answer. It's like, listen, I have no idea where to go. I don't know what to do. Give me some ideas. Give me, what should I do? Like, that might be what I want in that moment. Or I think more often and more common in relationships is what people really want is just a listener. Hey, can I just say this and have you not judge it and just let me say it and be listened to and really received? And I think more often than not, that's what we want, so that we can work it out for ourselves. And I think that just like we use the example of clicking the button and then being caught in the same algorithm again, if our automatic response is to give someone an answer, it's just like clicking the button and getting more of the same junk mail or whatever. It's because we're now looped in, because I'm used to playing the role of rescuing you or giving you the answer, rather than, oh, let me pause here and ask you what you think would really support you.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
Yeah.
So for me also, one of the things that I was really focusing on when I was thinking about, algorithm, spiritual, is it part of my life? What do I do? Part of it was, what you focus on expands.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're focusing, say, what the universe feeds you, is what you tune into. So it's kind of like law of attraction or the vibes that you're doing. So if you're constantly talking about bad dates, you're probably going to keep attracting bad dates. If you're constantly focusing, like I have my hurt thumb. If I'm constantly focusing on my hurt thumb, it's going to throb. When I don't think about it, the only time I notice it is when I bump it, hit it, or try to use it. But if you're conscientiously curating your feed or your code of what you believe and your insecurities, it's like, are you allowing that to create the algorithm for you? It's like people with shitty jobs never find better jobs if they're just focusing on the shitty job. Always.
And what do? They complain about things. And I think complaints are a language that we traffic in, and it just perpetuates the algorithm. So, the algorithm, it just keeps creating more of what we don't want. And I think we tend, you use the magic word, what are we consciously creating? Well, we're always creating. And I think that when we have something to celebrate that we love, that we are proud of, and we don't acknowledge that we created it, then, we may or may not continue to create it. But I think celebrating what works and what we want and what we're joyful about in our lives is a half of the equation to keep creating more of that. But then I think there's another piece that we tend to overlook a lot. And one is that part about complaining. But why did I create this if it's unfavorable, if I don't like it, if it's painful? And why do I keep creating it? And you and I have had this conversation before, like, why did I create this part of my life? Well, there was something to learn here for me.
Right. Exactly. It's like, is it something to learn? Is it something that's going to create something that makes you have a stronger backbone or more gumption, or, be kinder, or, you know what I mean? Just kind of like help shape you. Well, just like, algorithms in, say, tech, our unconscious or our subconscious is also guiding that algorithm for our own personal thing. And I kind of was like relating it to dating. It's like swiping, because I watched that movie Swipe last night on Netflix about the woman who created Bumble. And
I'm gonna write that down.
It's so good.
Okay.
So good. God, so freaking good. Anyway, it's kind of like we're creating our own pattern when we're constantly swiping right on the wrong person, on the wrong type of person, the wrong kind of. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like
our producer Rebel sent us this in the chat. Are these things we think into the universe? Are we thinking things into existence? Well,
yes.
I think yes. But are we conscious of the thinking we're thinking, or are we creating it unconsciously? And I think nothing exists in the universe without thought.
Well, here is where I say your patterns.
Can I clarify that?
Can
I just clarify that, because that came out weird?
Yeah.
No, I said nothing exists in the universe without thought. What I mean is nothing exists in our experience of the universe without thought. So it might exist outside of our experience. Like what exists for you might not exist for me. But what exists for me does not exist without my thinking and awareness of it. Otherwise, it's just happening, and not unbeknownst to me, it ain't happening in my universe.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Well,
I
it's
stepped
like
on
that. No, because it made me think of something that is really important that I found out recently. And I really wish I'd gathered that info because I'm just going to vaguely talk about it. Okay. I saw something and saw this scientific journal type article. Okay. Talking about how much we are actually perceiving in our own personal world. We can't see past 10% ish of what's in front of us.
Yeah.
There are things in front of me that I cannot see. And that might scare a lot of people. It's like getting in the water and not being able to see the bottom of the water.
Yeah.
And some people can't do that. Like I went swimming in a pond a couple of weeks ago with somebody. It was fucking full of algae. It was green to the greenest max. I jumped right in and went to town. I didn't fucking care. What's a fish going to do to me? Bite me? Who cares?
Yeah.
My friend barely put their toes in because they were afraid of what was under the water.
The unknown. Yeah.
The unknown. And our life daily is like that. It's like we only see 10, 15% of it. So what we are being shaped as. So this is one of the things I was talking about is how trauma, childhood experiences, past relationships, those program our inner thoughts. They program without getting help, without getting therapy or some type of self-help, without getting past trauma, getting through childhood experiences, getting healing from past relationships. Those are the things that are shaping our thoughts. So if someone is always constantly thinking about their trauma, past childhood bad experiences, past relationship bad experiences, they're going to expect nothing but bad experiences constantly. So they're creating their own algorithm of bad experiences.
Yeah.
Because I did that.
Yeah.
I grew up in trauma and I took that trauma with me into every fucking relationship. So I was pulling in the same type of man that I grew up with. In subtle different ways, but they all had the same shit as that. Because he had all of the bad stuff, and then I was picking men that had bits and pieces, thinking they were better, but not really knowing how to pick properly without healing. Once I started healing, my algorithms are different. Different men show up for me. Different people in my life show up for me. Different ways my friends now show up for me.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone show up who you knew they were different? It's like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, some element that was so familiar came up. It's like, oh my God, there I go again.
Yeah. Once in a while, somebody will slip through. The emotionally unavailable still shows up more often.
It's a sneaky one, isn't it? Like you've gone through ABC, type A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these. Oh, I found all the flavors of unavailable that I thought there were. And I meet this person who is so different. And oh my God. And then all of a sudden this unavailable trait slips in and like, oh my God, where'd that come from? You're just the new version of unavailable. It's so funny.
It is.
Yes, I didn't. I clicked on the algorithm again.
Here's what I think about that. I see it as universe. Some people call it God. Some people call it whatever they want to call it. I call it universe. My universe is my God. My God is my universe. My higher self is my God. You know what I mean? Especially since I went through my whole thing with the psychedelics. It just really shaped me differently in that aspect. So when I look at that, I see it as, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Oh my God, it just went flat on my head. What did you just say right before I started?
I was talking about unavailable and
Oh.
different flavors, new flavor. There's suddenly this surprise new flavor of unavailable.
I see it as the universe or God or whatever taking somebody and going, this person's different, but they're still emotionally unavailable. Let's see if they still follow the same patterns or not.
Yes.
And when you catch it faster, you're learning faster. You're going to get better and better and better. But if you're still, even though you're choosing different people, they still are emotionally unavailable. You're still picking it and you're not noticing it right away, then you still got work to do.
Well, yeah, it's like there's a whole curriculum, and we thought we worked our way through the unavailable curriculum, and then all of a sudden there's a new freaking lesson. It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
I thought, well, I guess I'm forever in life learning lessons about unavailable. So,
Well, several people presented themselves to me over the last few months who just, and I don't necessarily mean dating, I mean like in general, who were just unemotionally unavailable, emotionally unavailable, period. And I just still, I saw it faster and I'm like, nope, this is not the direction I need to go. The universe gave me a sign. I said, where do I go? What direction do I go? And then here was this, emotionally unavailable person.
Yeah.
And I went, nope, that's the direction I'm supposed to go over here because it showed me. Now I could have chose that direction, being attracted to the light of them, their energy, the concepts of what they have going on. But then that pattern's there. And if I didn't recognize it, then I could fall back into it. But I see it like that.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm all about supporting people moving from victimhood to consciousness and the ability to be the creator of their experience. And it's not to say that people might not get victimized by circumstances, but to take responsibility means really, I created this. I created this experience, not from a place of guilt or shame, but I brought in another piece of the curriculum. So even if it's unpleasant and, you keep choosing someone who's aggressive or someone who's, we've used the example unavailable, but what's your flavor that you keep creating that's unpleasant? And what is the lesson here? Like if we could let go of the guilt or the shame and let go of, why did I do this again? Or we could let go of blaming the perpetrator out there, then we could really sit in the seat of being empowered to be curious. How did I bring this flavor in again? A new flavor of this kind of person. What is the lesson here? Because we got a life curriculum. We don't know how many years we're going to have, but we've got a whole curriculum to experience.
Well, it's funny because it's funny that you said it that way because it just made me think that we start saying things over and over like, I'll deal with that tomorrow or I'll get a therapist next week. And we just don't realize that how much life is passing us by putting things off and creating that pattern because tomorrow may not come.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that person or me or you or anybody, that tomorrow may not come. So for me, I was thinking like, how can people reset their algorithm for their life, for dating, for work, for anything? And one of the ways that I came up with a couple of different ways. And one of them was thinking, therapy or journaling if you're not into therapy, or maybe both. Because what that does is it's to find the root of the pattern. Like, what is it that we're doing that's causing the unemotionally unavailable people or the violent people or the whatever? So finding the root of the pattern, I think, is the most important thing. And that's the first step. And that's either getting into therapy or journaling, or maybe you might have some other suggestions.
Yeah.
But the other one I thought about was maybe starting out smaller if it helps with shifting your daily habits. like meditation and affirmations, gratitude. That can also help with your journaling is, by meditating, having certain types of affirmations puts you in a better mindset. So if you're constantly struggling with, I cannot find guys who are single, all the good ones are freaking taken, all the best ones are gay. I like saying that one a lot. And that's creating a pattern. So by creating an affirmation or a meditation or a gratitude to the things that you want, it's listing the things that you really, truly, corely want with somebody, then it can start to create shifting different daily habits. And when you do that, you start choosing differently. And when you start choosing differently, even if it feels uncomfortable at first, those are incredible steps because it's getting you out of your comfortability that allows you to change the pattern of what you're doing, saying, feeling, thinking,
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think is really useful is to make sure that you, for your own life, are differentiating between a crisis moment and a moment of growth. Because let's face it, there are moments where, if the house is on fire, you don't start wondering about, oh, isn't that nice? Maybe we should do the landscaping differently, or maybe we should have put in a sprinkler system. No, that's the time when the house is on fire, you put the fire out. And we could extrapolate on whatever that might be emotionally in someone's life. There are crisis situations that need to be dealt with. But then if you're not in a crisis, then I would say, and this is one of the ways I live my life, is I'm always in a growth inquiry. Like I'm always looking for some way to explore and grow who I am. How do I get to be this way? What's possible? Where have I made choices that limit what's possible? Where do I have limiting beliefs and all of those things, so that I'm always curious and exploring and not trying to solve a problem, unless, of course, like I said, it's a crisis. I'm not problem solving, because I think if the things that we're doing, like if you meditate in order to be more peaceful, well, that is almost like you're trying to solve a problem. If that little phrase, in order to this, if you're really stuck on the result, but if you meditate and really see what, like, I have no idea what meditation is going to provide for me. Some people said it's going to make me more peaceful. Some people said it's going to this and that. Well, let's investigate and see what it's like, rather than putting all my attention on trying to be more peaceful. Let's be in an inquiry without being attached to some lesson to be learned. And I think that's a rich way to experience life.
Also, though, if you think about it, if you are, say, then you're meditating to meditate, a lot of answers can come to you during that time by just clearing your mind and, thinking about, those type of things. But if you're also thinking about it, if you're doing the actions, like you say, just to be not to solve a problem, that a lot of the problems will start to be solved for you in messages. And I see signs and synchronicities all the time. And I think that kind of leans towards what we're talking about is, are people actually paying attention to synchronicities and signs once they've asked for solutions? Because asking for a solution, but then not being open to the goddamn sign of it is not going to fix your problem. Yeah. So when I say that, like, if you're hearing songs or getting messages from a text, or you open your Facebook and there's, blah, 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 and you're thinking about it, do you trust those signs, or do you just swipe past them? Do you just keep going? And just a real fast example, because we only have 10 minutes left. A real fast example is about a week or two ago, I've been struggling for the last year to know where I'm going to go. I keep saying I'm going to go to Europe, but with my new job, I'm struggling with the time difference. And I thought, well, going to Europe right now would be difficult, even more so than the time difference for me now. And I just decided to meditate. And then I just meditated. And then I said in my meditation, hey, spirit guides, angels, ancestors, universe, whatever. I'm looking for a sign or a direction of where I'm supposed to go. How can I solve the problem of having these list of things I want and need, and yet still solve a problem that I'm having? And the very next day, several things came across my attention that gave me an answer to that. And then a friend texted me and said, hey, I'm in this exact place that I'd been shown. And then I had my answer. So now I know where I'm moving to for the first 6 months that I leave here.
Awesome.
And it's Mexico. I'm going to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. It's in the same time zone as the people I work with. It's giving me the same things here that I want from here, there, meaning the ocean, the beach, but yet feel more tropical, which I don't have here. More rain, more blue ocean, more clean sand. And yet be able to take my massive fucking nut of a living expense every month that I kill myself here for will decrease by, let's just say I spend $5,000. Let's say the truth. I spend $5,000 or more just to be poor here, just to be poor, just to skim by. Whereas in Mexico, where I'm going, my entire living expense will be $1,000. So it solved the problem for me of being able to give me all the things I wanted and be able to lower my living expenses so that I could save more for when I do find the place I want to be.
Yeah.
So you got to look for those things. And here's my best suggestion on how to see those things. Okay. By raising your standards, by healing old wounds, by being intentional about what kind of love and life that we're looking to attract, which then gives us our algorithm. It's kind of like if you were to say, here's an example for y'all. If your spiritual algorithm was like your TikTok page, would it just be dogs, tacos, and emotionally unavailable men? Okay. So what I would encourage you to do is look at what your set patterns are bringing you. And then say, ooh, I can change my algorithm on TikTok by just searching for other things.
Yeah.
That will bring different things to my algorithm. It's the same thing with your life. When you start focusing on the things you're wanting to attract, then those things start coming. So you're changing your algorithm, right? Yeah,
that's great.
How would you say that we've got another 7 minutes or so? I'm just curious what your thoughts are, maybe some solutions, some things to really start helping people rethink and reprogram their algorithm for their life.
I think one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning, and I'm still learning and still wrestling with and still exploring, is the whole idea of non-attachment. I know that, it's spoken of in many different ways and many different spiritual beliefs. And I think attachment, attachment would be like if you are now set on Mexico and something happened and you couldn't go there, that you, so that's not attachment. It's, I come up with another solution. So being attached to a solution is a pitfall.
Yes, here's the thing. I was attached to going to Spain first and
Yeah.
then doing my thing. I was attached to it. I was sold to it. I was married to it. I was fucking tied to it.
Yeah.
And when things were coming up that were going to make it really difficult, I started to panic and think,
Yeah.
what am I going to do now?
Yes. So that's
And
a great
that's
symptom of being
Mhm.
attached, is that all of a
Mhm.
sudden I'm panicking.
Mhm.
And there's like
Yeah.
this, I've got to force this to happen and work out.
Right. But see, the thing that makes me feel comfortable about this is that by going to Mexico, one, I'm super close to the US still. Okay. It's
Yeah.
not a difficult place to go. I've been there before. I'm very comfortable with it. I have friends there. It's in the right time zone. It's going to
Yeah.
save me money. If I don't like it, I leave.
Right. Right.
That's how simple it is. If I feel unsafe or not happy, I just change. That's all there is to it. I just, okay, well, if I don't like the cat videos I'm seeing on TikTok, I'm going to now Google dog videos and I'm just going
Right.
to change the algorithm.
Yeah. I'm going to try to reach out and explore.
Now, a couple of things in the studio said, are these things we think into the universe? Remember when she had asked that? But we don't, she also goes on to say, but we don't know if we're going to want or what we think we want. So is that why we keep trying?
We don't know if we're going to want what we think we want. Is that why we keep trying?
What's that about, Rebel?
When you keep wanting something or think you want something, and then when you get it, you don't actually want it, so you keep trying.
Oh, yeah. I see.
You keep trying, and you keep putting these things in the universe. You think you want this. It's human nature to want what you don't have, but when you get it, you don't necessarily want it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like leaning towards what Steve was just saying.
Yeah.
Are you too attached to the outcome?
Yeah.
Are you too attached?
Are you so attached that you get it and it's not what you want, but you keep trying to go for it anyway? Yeah. It's like, I think I should want this. And then, I think that's true a lot for people with their relationship with money. The trappings of it, the money, what it represents, and buying all the things that money represents, but what, really they think that's going to make them happy. And they get the money or they get the new car, the things that are symbols of money, and it ends up not being what they really wanted. And so they're kind of on a hamster wheel trying to get more of what they think they want, when maybe that really wasn't what they wanted.
Right. But if what they do is take a different energy and put it into the money, and then they also change the energy of the outcome, meaning letting it go, not caring if that is the exact ending, just knowing that you're going down a path that's going to lead you where you're eventually supposed to go. And maybe that's the direction you start. You know what I mean? So it's like money, if you're putting a different feeling to it, like, oh, money is just there. So what's another way you can think of it? How do I think of it? I think of it differently. I don't see it as how money can make me happy. I see it as how money can move some of the difficulties that I'm having out of the way, so that I can now focus on the things that are really important and special to the people in my life and my own life. So I don't see money as a powerful thing to make me happy. I see it as a tool to just be able to do the things I need to do to get to where I need to go.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm excited to see what you learn moving to Mexico, where the value of money is different.
Yes.
I think you might see the value of relationships changing and the value of money being less significant, because the culture there might have a different relationship with money. We very much in this country are a capitalist country, and a lot of agreement around it, a lot of conversation around what money means.
I think I had this weird thing with money, for a while, because we never had it. I had not had it in the past. And so it was always an elusive thing that we're constantly seeking and trying to get. And I always saw it as I couldn't have the things I really needed when I didn't have the money. And when I had the money, I would spend it on the things I needed, but then I wouldn't have it. And then it was this angry cycle. And now I just see it. I just put different energy on it, and I don't see it as the outcome anymore. I see it as a tool that I use like anything else in my life, my computer, my phone, the things in my home that help me do the things I need to do. And I don't put that kind of all be all energy on it anymore.
Yeah. So I guess maybe the answer to our one of the themes of the show is one way to really know what your spiritual algorithm is to really get in touch with what's important to you. Bring
100%.
Bring that to the foreground.
100%. Thanks for being here and talking about this topic with me today.
Yes,
This was amazing. I appreciate it. It's actually a really fun topic to talk about.
Yeah.
So next week, just so everybody knows, next week I've got Thomas Sawyer on the show, and he is going to come and talk to us about the psychic world, aliens, all kinds of stuff. He's going to give me a topic and we're going to chat. But what's really exciting is that Thomas is coming on because I'm going to introduce him as my new co-host for my second podcast, not this podcast, my other podcast that's going to be all about the psychic world.
Wow.
So that one is going to be at the end of October. We'll keep you posted on that, but I'm going to introduce Thomas to you next week. So come back for that if you would. And until then, let's just keep this shit real. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.